Has this political trailblazer trashed her own reputation? Diane Abbott was Britain's first black woman MP, but after decades of speaking out about racism, an intervention on that very topic has attracted almost universal condemnation.
I woke up today and I read the letter in The Observer written by Diane Abbott, and it beggars belief. The comments from Diane Abbott are simply unacceptable.
In a letter in today's Observer newspaper, she wrote that Irish, Jewish and traveller people undoubtedly experience prejudice. This is similar to racism, and the two words are often used as if they are interchangeable. It is true that many types of white people with points of difference, such as redheads, can experience this prejudice, but they are not all their lives subject to racism. After a backlash, Diane Abbott swiftly apologised and withdrew the comments. But she's had the Labour whip suspended, meaning she's now an independent MP. Her own Hackney constituency includes one of the largest Orthodox Jewish communities in Europe. Do you think what Diane Abbott said is anti-Semitic?
Definitely. I mean, there's no question about it. How can it not be?
But some are supportive of their local MP.
I know she's helped a lot of people in the Jewish community in the past. So for a second, I would not think that she meant what she said.
In her apology, Diane Abbott says an early draft of her letter was sent in error, but even that admission provokes yet more questions. And there are now growing calls, including from the campaign against anti-Semitism, for her to be expelled from the Labour Party. If that happens, or even if the whip just remains suspended, Diane Abbott's 36 years representing this community may soon be over.
Anti-Semitism, anti-Blackness.
Under my leadership, there will be zero tolerance of anti-Semitism, of racism.
Then they do this speech thing, bullying on a platform, where they show one face to the public.
Of discrimination of any kind.
Supporters of Keir Starmer say he's been true to his word. He once worked side by side with Diane Abbott and Jeremy Corbyn. Now neither are Labour MPs, and both could be out of Parliament at the next election. Joe Pike, Sky News, Hackney.
Let's see what Twitter are saying.
She made it look as though there was a hierarchy to racism. That is reason enough to suspend. And her apology was one of the dog ate my homework, the kind that my kids gave up when they were 6.
The way I read it is that Diane Abbott's first draft said exactly what she was thinking before any of her staff could dumb it down. Now she wants to completely disassociate herself from every writing it or thinking about it and just forget about it. Finally outed for what you are.
Can you imagine what you will see if you look inside Diane Abbott's head? You imagine a few loose nuts and bolts and lots of screws and perhaps the old cog turning the wrong way?
Diane Abbott's letter to the Observer was disgraceful, and her apology is entirely unconvincing. We have written to Keir Starmer expressing our deep concern and asking for the whip to be removed.
This is what bullying in England looks like, you understand? This is a racially motivated attack, you understand? It's something I've noticed about the British as well. They will accuse you of doing the same thing that they do to you. So what's done to you, they will accuse of doing it. It's about twisting and distorting your reality. I can't find anything wrong with this letter, guys.
There is nothing wrong with Diane Abbott's letter. The issue is not one of racism, but of white offence, white feelings, and the rejection of truth in this country.
It was the wording of her letter. So it was the wording of her letter. Thank you, John. Okay, so I'm here. I've printed it out. The statement, or the letter that offends everybody for some reason. That's offended the British public, and I'm gonna try to look for the parts that triggered the British. Clearly parts in this letter that triggered everybody, so let's try to find it. I've actually had a look and I actually think I can find it, guys. I actually think I can actually find out what part of the letter, so come and annotate with me, okay? why I think these specific words trigger them. We have white people here. Yeah, that word to white people is a trigger. Believe it or not, it is a trigger. Them being reminding of their race is a trigger to them. Okay, they like to act like they have no color. Yeah, they are blind to color, everyone else's, and they're blind to their own. So you reminded them of their color. That's the first one. So white people, white seeming people. Yeah, okay. Second one we have on here is civil rights. Before I go to before I mention civil rights, let's just talk about tone, because it's a very corrective tone. It's very matter of fact. It's a very assertive tone. They don't like that. Let's leave down because it's giving too much risk. You know, in Japan, that's a bit, you know. Diane was using a corrective tone. Okay. Corrective tones can be good when you're trying to help people to grow and learn, right? But when the people you're talking to are hypersensitive, all it's going to do is cause offense. You understand? A corrective tone makes people defensive. Essentially, listen, makes you feel inferior. So what this black woman did was correct them with educate them with truth in a corrective tone, making them feel inferior. That's it. That's it. My tea is on the paper, not good. So we have now civil rights, and we have back of the bus, and we have apartheid. These are their sins, guys. This is their history. Yeah, history is a nightmare. Yeah, they don't want to remember it. You're reminding them of their actions and the collective actions of white people, the white diaspora all across the world. Yeah, so you just took the worst part of their history and smushed it in their face. Yes, okay, hope we're still following along. The most shameful part of the history, British history and American history, which is slavery and slave ships. Yeah, shame, yeah, this is, you made them feel shame. Yeah, Diane, you made them feel shame, and you still going as well. And then you had the nerve to say manacled. Right, let's look at that word. I'm gonna go look it up right now. Manacled, you know. Yeah, you still here. She didn't say you took them across the sea, you took away their names. Yeah, you talked about the bondage. Is this the word? It was very vivid, very strong, well-chosen word, babe. Manacled is a strong word, okay? It's a very strong word. I'm not saying it was a poor choice of word either, just a strong one. Manacled means to be restrained with handcuffs, which they still do, by the way. When choosing certain words in certain situations, it's important to consider the connotations and implications, because using strong language can be effective in making a point, and the word manacled just did that. That word just honestly just put the final seal on it. It is a very dramatic word. It is dramatic. Well used. Good job, Ellen. Actually, let's talk about white seeming people. I don't know, like, it's like, I'm not saying she was wrong for saying it, but got this air of almost kind of like almost slightly patronizing, slightly humorous. Right? There were no white seeming people manacled. You know, like, you did a good job, Diane. You did a good job. No, this is a good way to go out and tell you that. It's a good way to go out, but the issue is the language, then the tone. Let's recap, okay? So we said that the words white people and white seeming people triggered them because it's a reminder of their race, and they like to play colorblind. Also, your tone overall was very corrective and puts you above them, makes them feel civil rights, back of the bus, and apartheid. So that's their history, the nightmare from which they cannot awake. And the worst part of the history is slavery. So you got words like slavery, slave ships, manacled. That's what it is. So they actually did not focus on that. They focused on Twitter. A lot of them were talking about Irish, Jews, travelers, that part of it, redheads. They focus on that and prejudice. That's not what it was. That's what they say. But they were triggered by the words that I've highlighted. So yeah, I've got a response and I'm gonna go write it. Around the head, boy. They got whipped. You got whipped in their head, boy. Get the whiplash. You took them around all the way from slavery, you took them all the way to freaking apartheid, you took them around to Jews, to redheads, to slave ships. You took them on an emotional journey. Someone said it was a visceral response. Well, visceral. Yeah, it was. But I say most of the things in this country, most of the responses in this country from the British and in the press that result in this kind of black bullying is sparked by or triggered by things that are visceral. It's always an emotional response to them. It's never really about the issue. No one cares about Jews. No one cares about the Jews' feelings. It's about the white people's feelings. It's not about the Jews. No one cares about the Jews. Jews care about Jews. No one cares. It's not about them. It's just about condemning black and punishing black. And this country loves to do that. And if they can do that in the process of silencing the black voice and the black leader, they will do that. That is just the history of this country. There's no outrage. You said what you had to say, and stand by it. And that's it. Ain't nobody over here crying. I got one piece I want to write, and that's it about this, and that's it. Well, these people are just full of crap. They're full of crap, and they're used to having their voice heard. They're used to being outraged. And again, it's about white feelings, about white offense, and truth is not a part of their moral code. Yeah, it's not a part of their moral code. I actually have a piece on that. Truth is not a part of the moral code. They don't hear truth. Truth is not part of their being. It's not even in their systems. So when you speak truth, you trigger them as well. They're triggered by truth, especially, and that's why society loves to silence the black voice, because the black voice is just truth. It's just truth. It's just slap in the face. Good job, Diane. Good job, Diane. Good job. Anyway, check out my go online to find out, to hear my version of to read my letter. I got a letter on the right. This is not about anti-Semitism. It's about anti-blackness. And this is why I keep saying this is a series that I'm going to be doing on this channel about, triggers and anti-blackness and silencing the black voice, because it's a real issue in society. I do not see an issue with that letter, but obviously my perspective as a black woman is entirely different to those who are on Twitter, who are mainly white British males, white British men and women. So yeah, we need more people of color discussing these issues. So yeah, so I think I'm just gonna wrap up now. So if you like this video, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and go check out my blog to read my version of the letter. And I'll see you online. Bye. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I created this channel, so I can discuss topics on anti-blackness. So I'm going to introduce a new series called Anti-Blackness, and I'm going to be focusing on, the roots and history of anti-blackness, systemic racism, internalized anti-blackness, media and anti-blackness, global perspectives and anti-blackness, black resistance, and personal stories and experiences. So yeah, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, then make sure you subscribe.